about whether or not cheerleading is a sport. A sport requires teamwork, strength, and physical activity, all of which things that cheerleaders learn on top of the important skills. And this can be very important for cheerleaders, especially when they start as a young age, because cheerleaders can start at as young as 2 years old. Cheerleading is one of the most strenuous sports, both physically and emotionally, and it teaches athletes important skills and mindsets, and it deserves its recognition as a sport. I have been a cheerleader since I was 7 years old, so I have experienced this all firsthand, and I've put in a lot of hard work to become a cheerleader, so I believe that it really deserves credit as one of the hardest sports. So cheerleading shows its athletes how to become confident, how to develop important leadership and team building skills, while also strengthening athletes to do one of the hardest sports. First, I will describe how cheerleading teaches self-confidence. Second, I will examine the leadership qualities that cheerleaders learn. And third, I will discuss how cheerleading strengthens athletes to be able to do one of the hardest sports. Cheerleading plays a role in building self-confidence and self-esteem, especially when starting at a young age. As a cheerleader, one of the most important aspects that is taught is to always be confident and believe in yourself and your team. Cheerleading teaches its athletes to believe in themselves because whether it be at a game or competition, it's vital that cheerleaders always have a smile on their face and a positive attitude. At competitions, cheerleaders can really let their true personality shine on the mat and put their own spin on the routine. It can be extremely tough for new cheerleaders at their first competitions because performing in front of so many people can be really nerve-wracking, but after performing in front of such big crowds and watching them be amazed by the routine, confidence is easily built and it becomes easier for cheerleaders to perform in front of so many people. Cheerleading Worlds is the International Cheerleading Championship. As stated by Cheer Theory, has more than 300 teams who compete, and teams can have up to 36 members. Cheerleading is also known as one of the most popular sports in the world by cheer competition then and now. Cheerleading teaches its athletes to believe in themselves and to be confident in what they're doing. It can be really hard to try new things, but having the confidence and self-esteem allows cheerleaders to always try to achieve their goals. Chassé quotes that on a cheer team, being surrounded by confident athletes only makes us more motivated to improve our skills as individuals and as a team. So confidence and self-esteem really is no issue, as cheerleaders can easily perform in front of so many people and put their mind to achieving a goal if they believe in themselves. Being able to be a team player and a leader is also very vital and a major key in cheerleading teams. Cheerleading really is a true example of the saying, teamwork makes the dream work. Cheerleading teaches its athletes how to work together as a unified team and to be able to solve problems amongst one another and reach team goals. Cheerleading really is a difficult sport, as many aspects are very dangerous if not executed well. In cheerleading, an athlete can have all the skills needed to do well, but they also must all have faith in one another. Cheerleading is undoubtedly a team sport, so if just one athlete misses practice, it can negatively affect the whole team and the routine. The actions of just one single member alone changes the cheerleading experience for everyone, since they cannot practice due to that missing member. Emily from Omni Cheer blog describes this as a ripple effect that happens on the cheer team. So it teaches these athletes to be considerate and to do what's best for the team rather than what is most convenient for themselves. Cheerleading also teaches its athletes to be supportive of one another because it can be a very difficult sport. Learning new stunts, dances, or tumbling skills can be really difficult, but when a team supports one another and comes together to cheer each other on, success happens. Cheer is very demanding, and it shows its athletes that they need to be able to lean on one another during hard times, and these qualities stick with these athletes for far long after they finish cheerleading. Omni blog goes on to say that cheerleading teaches you how to brainstorm, hear each other out, and make the best decisions for the team, and that cheerleaders depend on each other for additional critiques and assistance. Not only does cheerleading teach athletes important leadership and team building skills, but it also strengthens athletes to be able to do one of the most hardest sports. There has always been a stigma around cheerleading, as it used to be portrayed as just people on the sidelines cheering on other sports teams, but it has evolved and significantly changed to be one of the most difficult and demanding sports. On top of the important life skills, cheerleading also teaches its athletes how to be strong and persevere through extremely hard routines. It is said that cheerleading is one of the most physically demanding sports and one of the most demanding sports for females. Cheerleaders perform many crazy and different elements throughout their routine. They only have 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and in that time they have to do jumps, dance, tumbling, pyramid, motions, and they only have one turn to go. Unlike many other sports who have multiple innings or quarters in a game to make up for a mistake, cheerleading does not. If a stunt falls or timing is off, then they will lose points for that and they don't get a turn to try to go it again, which makes the pressure on cheerleaders even more immense. On top of that pressure of trying to perfect their routine, they also have to focus on throwing other humans in the air and catching them, and throwing their own bodies and twisting them in tumbling passes. OmniBlog goes on to say that cheerleading is emotionally and physically demanding, and that there are so many aspects of cheerleading that make it a extremely difficult sport, and it deserves the correct recognition and respect for all the athletes' hard work. Cheerleading plays a role in building self-confidence and self-esteem, especially when an athlete starts at a young age. Cheerleading is a true example, as I said, of the saying teamwork makes the dream work, because it teaches its athletes to work together as a unified team and to be able to problem solve with one another and solve the team's goals. Not only does cheerleading teach its athletes important leadership and team building skills, but it also strengthens athletes to be able to perfect one of the hardest sports. Cheerleading shows its athletes how to become confident, how to develop important leadership skills, and strengthens them to persevere throughout their routines. Cheerleading requires extreme dedication from its athletes, as they have to focus on so many different elements at once, not just the routine itself, but on all the qualities it takes to become a cheerleader. Cheerleading is so important, and it deserves its recognition as a sport because it requires a strong sense of confidence, teamwork, passion, and strength from its athletes.